Let's delve deeper into the history of electricity in ancient civilizations. Did you know that the ancient Greeks were aware of static electricity? They observed that rubbing amber could attract small objects. This phenomenon was documented by Thales of Miletus around 600 BCE. The term electricity itself is derived from the Greek word for amber, electron. Now, let's explore another fascinating artifact that might have been used to generate electricity. The dendera is a depiction found in the Hathor temple in Egypt. Some believe it shows an ancient light bulb powered by a Baghdad battery-like device. However, mainstream archaeologists argue that it's merely a symbolic representation of creation and fertility. Located in the Dendera temple complex, this depiction has sparked endless debate among historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts alike. The image in question shows a large bulb-like object with a snake inside, connected by a lotus flower at the base and a djed pillar supporting it. To the untrained eye, it looks remarkably similar to a modern light bulb. Proponents of the ancient electricity theory suggest that the snake represents a filament and the lotus flower could be the power source, possibly connected to a Baghdad battery-like device. They argue that the djed pillar could be a form of insulator or electrical support. This interpretation is certainly electrifying, but is it grounded in reality? Mainstream archaeologists offer a more symbolic interpretation. They argue that the Dendera light is a representation of the mythological aspects of creation and fertility. The snake is seen as the rising sun, the lotus as the primeval mound from which life emerged, and the djed pillar as a symbol of stability and continuity. So which theory holds more weight? While the idea of ancient Egyptians using electric light is thrilling, there's no concrete evidence to support this claim. No actual light bulbs or electrical devices have been found in the archaeological record. Moreover, the mainstream interpretation aligns with the rich symbolic language found throughout Egyptian art and mythology. Whether you lean towards the high-voltage hypothesis or the more symbolic explanation, the Dendera light remains one of history's most fascinating enigmas. It serves as a reminder of how much we still have to learn about ancient civilizations and their technological capabilities. Moving on, let's discuss the scientific principles behind the Baghdad Battery. The setup resembles a simple galvanic cell, which is a type of electrochemical cell. In a galvanic cell, chemical energy is converted into electrical energy through redox reactions. The copper and iron in the Baghdad Battery act as electrodes, while the acidic solution serves as the electrolyte. So how does this work? When the acidic solution, such as vinegar or grape juice, is poured into the terracotta jar, it reacts with the copper and iron. The copper acts as the cathode, attracting positive ions, while the iron serves as the anode, releasing electrons. These electrons flow through the iron rod, generating a small electric current. This principle is the same one that powers modern batteries, although on a much smaller scale. The voltage produced by a single Baghdad battery is low, typically between 1 to 2 volts. However, if multiple batteries were connected in series, they could generate a higher voltage, potentially enough to perform tasks like electroplating. But what about the actual evidence? While there are no surviving texts that describe the use of these devices, the scientific principles behind them are sound. Experiments have shown that replicas of the Baghdad battery can indeed produce electricity, albeit in small amounts. This raises the intriguing possibility that ancient civilizations might have had a rudimentary understanding of electrochemical principles. So, were these ancient jars the first batteries in human history? While we may never have definitive proof, the scientific principles behind the Baghdad Battery offer a tantalizing glimpse into the technological capabilities of our ancestors. It's a reminder that history is full of surprises, and that ancient civilizations might have been more advanced than we often give them credit for. Stay tuned as we dive into more ancient enigmas and technological marvels. Up next, we'll explore the fascinating story of the Baghdad Battery, ancient tech or modern myth. Before we delve deeper into the enigma of the Baghdad Battery, let's take a closer look at the materials used in its construction. Copper and iron are both excellent conductors of electricity. Copper, in particular, has been used in electrical wiring for centuries due to its high conductivity and durability. The use of these metals in the Baghdad Battery suggests a sophisticated understanding of material science. Copper, with its reddish-gold hue, has been a prized material since antiquity. Not only is it an excellent conductor of electricity, but it also resists corrosion, making it an ideal choice for long-lasting applications. Iron, on the other hand, is known for its strength and ability to release electrons easily, which is crucial for creating an electric current. The combination of these two metals in the Baghdad Battery is no accident. The ancient engineers who designed these devices likely understood the properties of copper and iron and how they could be harnessed to produce electricity. This understanding would have required careful observation and experimentation, hinting at a level of scientific knowledge that we often don't associate with ancient civilizations. But it doesn't stop there. The acidic solution used as the electrolyte in the Baghdad Battery is another fascinating aspect. Substances like vinegar or grape juice, which were readily available at the time, could serve as electrolytes due to their acidic nature. When these solutions are poured into the terracotta jar, they react with the copper and iron, facilitating the flow of electrons and generating a small electric current. This meticulous selection of materials and the thoughtful design of the Baghdad Battery reveal a deep understanding of electrochemical principles. It's a testament to the ingenuity and scientific curiosity of ancient peoples. While we may not have all the answers, the materials used in the Baghdad Battery offer a glimpse into a world where science and innovation were very much alive. So, as we continue to explore this ancient mystery, let's keep in mind the remarkable knowledge and craftsmanship that went into creating these intriguing artifacts. Up next, we'll tackle the big question. Was the Baghdad Battery a piece of ancient technology or a modern myth? Stay tuned. Now let's discuss the potential uses of the Baghdad Battery in more detail. One theory is that it was used for electroplating, a process that involves coating a metal object with a thin layer of another metal using an electric current. This technique was known to the ancient Egyptians and Greeks, and it's possible that the Parthians or Sasanians also had this knowledge. Imagine ancient artisans using these batteries to create stunning works of art, gilding objects with a fine layer of gold or silver. This would not only enhance the beauty of their creations, but also signify wealth and power. The ability to electroplate would have given them a technological edge, allowing them to produce items that were both aesthetically pleasing and durable. Another intriguing possibility is the use of these batteries in medicinal practices. Could the Baghdad Battery have been an early form of electrotherapy? Some ancient texts suggest that electric fish were used to treat pain and other ailments, so it's not entirely far-fetched to think that these batteries could have served a similar purpose. The electric current generated by the battery could have been used to stimulate muscles or nerves, providing relief for various conditions. There's also the theory that these batteries were used in religious or ritualistic contexts. Electricity has always had a certain mystique, and in ancient times it could have been seen as a divine or magical force. The Baghdad Battery might have been used to create sparks or small shocks during ceremonies, adding an element of wonder and awe. While these theories are fascinating, it's important to remember that we don't have definitive evidence to support any of them. The true purpose of the Baghdad Battery remains one of history's great enigmas. However, the very existence of these artifacts opens up a world of possibilities and challenges our understanding of ancient technology. As we ponder these potential uses, let's appreciate the ingenuity and curiosity that drove ancient civilizations to explore the boundaries of their knowledge. Whether for art, medicine, or ritual, the Baghdad Battery stands as a testament to the enduring human spirit of innovation. Stay tuned as we delve further into the mystery of the Baghdad Battery and explore whether it was indeed an ancient technological marvel or a modern myth. Another intriguing theory is that the Baghdad Battery was used for medicinal purposes. Electrotherapy, or the use of electrical currents to treat medical conditions, has a long history. Ancient Greek and Roman physicians used electric fish to treat ailments like gout and headaches. It's possible that the Baghdad Battery was used in a similar way. Imagine a healer in ancient Mesopotamia carefully preparing the battery with a mixture of vinegar or lemon juice. The healer might have used the mild electric current generated by the battery to stimulate muscles and nerves, providing relief from pain and other ailments. In the dimly lit room, the patient could feel a slight tingle as the healer applied the electrodes, believing this mysterious force to be a divine touch. The healer's knowledge of electrotherapy would have seemed almost magical, enhancing their status and reputation within the community. While we can't say for certain if the Baghdad Battery was used this way, the idea opens up fascinating possibilities about the intersection of ancient technology and medicine. It shows us that our ancestors were not only curious and inventive, but also deeply committed to exploring ways to improve human health. But was this ancient electrotherapy effective? Modern experiments suggest that the battery could indeed produce a small electric current, enough to have a mild therapeutic effect, yet without more concrete evidence, it's hard to say if this was its true purpose. Nevertheless, the concept of using electricity for healing is not just a modern innovation. It has roots that stretch back thousands of years, connecting us to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of ancient civilizations. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Baghdad Battery in the next scene, where we explore whether this artifact is ancient tech or just a modern myth. As we delve deeper into the enigma of the Baghdad Battery, let's not forget the possibility of ritual or magical uses for this ancient artifact. In many ancient cultures, electricity was seen as a mysterious and powerful force. The ability to generate even a small electric current could have been used in religious or magical ceremonies to awe and impress participants. Imagine a high priest in a grand temple, surrounded by flickering oil lamps and the scent of incense filling the air. The priest holds the Baghdad Battery, its components carefully assembled, and begins a sacred ritual. As the battery produces a faint electric charge, the priest might use it to create a spark or a small shock, captivating the congregation. To the ancient onlookers, this would seem like a divine manifestation, a tangible connection to the gods or the spirit world. This scenario is not far-fetched when we consider that many ancient societies used natural phenomena to enhance their religious practices. Lightning, magnetism, and even the alignment of celestial bodies were often interpreted as signs from the divine. The Baghdad Battery could have been another tool in this arsenal of mystical wonders, adding an electrifying element to rituals and ceremonies. While we may never have concrete evidence to prove this theory, it opens a fascinating window into the mindset of our ancestors. They were not only skilled artisans and engineers, but also deeply spiritual beings, seeking to understand and harness the forces of nature in ways that blended science and mysticism. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Baghdad Battery in the next scene, where we explore whether this artifact is ancient tech or just a modern myth. Now, let's discuss the modern experiments that have been conducted to test the Baghdad Battery. In addition to the Mythbusters, other researchers have replicated the battery using various electrolytes like vinegar, lemon juice, and grape juice. These experiments have consistently shown that the battery can produce a small but measurable voltage. For instance, in 1978, Dr. Arne Egerbrecht, a German archaeologist, managed to generate 0.87 volts using grape juice as the electrolyte. This was enough to electroplate a small silver statue with gold, offering some support to the electroplating theory. But the voltage wasn't high enough to be practical for larger objects or more complex tasks. In another experiment conducted in 2005, Paul Craddock from the British Museum used a similar setup and managed to produce about 1.1 volts. While the voltage was still low, it was enough to show that the Baghdad Battery could indeed function as a rudimentary power source. But it's not just about generating electricity. Some researchers have even explored the potential medicinal uses of the battery. In 1980, Dr. Paul T. Kaiser suggested that the Baghdad Battery might have been used for therapeutic purposes, similar to the way ancient Greeks and Romans used electric fish to treat ailments. By applying a mild electric shock, they could have provided pain relief or stimulated healing in patients. However, these modern experiments also raise questions. Why haven't we found more artifacts that clearly show the use of electricity in ancient times? And why is there such a lack of direct evidence linking these batteries to practical applications? Despite these questions, the experiments continue to fascinate and inspire both scientists and historians. They provide a tantalizing glimpse into what might have been possible in ancient times, and they keep the mystery of the Baghdad Battery alive. As we ponder these intriguing possibilities, let's move on to our final scene, where we explore whether the Baghdad Battery is ancient tech or just a modern myth. Despite the intriguing evidence, many archaeologists remain skeptical about the Baghdad Battery. Critics argue that the jars could have been used for more mundane purposes like storing scrolls or other small objects. The lack of wires, conductors, and in situ electrolytes makes it difficult to definitively prove that the jars were used as batteries. One prominent critic, Dr. Paul Craddock from the British Museum, has pointed out that without clear evidence of the jars' use in electrical applications, it's a stretch to label them as batteries. He suggests that these artifacts might have served a completely different yet unknown purpose. Furthermore, the absence of any additional artifacts or documentation supporting the use of electricity in ancient Mesopotamia adds another layer of doubt. If these jars were indeed batteries, why haven't we found more evidence of their widespread use or any other electrical devices from the same period? These questions highlight the importance of caution when interpreting ancient artifacts. While the idea of ancient batteries is fascinating, it's essential to consider all possible explanations and avoid jumping to conclusions. As we continue to explore the mystery of the Baghdad Battery, it's crucial to balance excitement with skepticism. This helps ensure that our understanding of history remains grounded in evidence and not just speculation. Now let's move on to our final scene, where we explore whether the Baghdad Battery is ancient tech or just a modern myth. To truly understand the Baghdad Battery, we need to delve into the cultural and historical context of the Parthian and Sasanian periods. These ancient civilizations, thriving between 150 BCE and 650 CE, were known for their remarkable achievements in art, science, and technology. But what was life like during this time, and how might these jars fit into their broader cultural practices? The Parthians, ruling from 247 BCE to 224 CE, were renowned for their advanced engineering and military prowess. They built impressive cities, road networks, and irrigation systems. The Sasanians, who followed the Parthians, continued this legacy of innovation until the 7th century CE. Their period saw significant advancements in medicine, astronomy, and agriculture. This era was marked by a blend of Zoroastrian, Greek, and Roman influences, creating a melting pot of ideas and technologies. Could the Baghdad Battery have been a product of this intellectual and cultural fusion? Some historians speculate that these jars might have been used in religious rituals or as part of healing practices. The Zoroastrian religion, which was predominant during these periods, emphasized the duality of light and darkness. This could explain why an object capable of generating light or electrical sparks would hold symbolic significance. Moreover, ancient texts from this era hint at the use of electricity for therapeutic purposes. The idea of using mild electric shocks for healing aligns with the medicinal shock therapy theory. This practice might have been part of a broader tradition of using natural elements and forces for health and well-being. Yet, despite these intriguing possibilities, the lack of concrete evidence leaves room for skepticism. Were these jars truly used to harness electricity, or were they merely storage vessels with no electrical purpose? The absence of detailed records or additional artifacts makes it challenging to draw definitive conclusions. In conclusion, the Baghdad Battery remains one of history's most fascinating mysteries. Whether it was an ancient battery, a storage jar, or something else entirely, it continues to captivate the imaginations of scientists and historians alike. What do you think? Could the Parthians have been ancient electrical engineers, or are we projecting modern ideas onto these artifacts? Hey there, science lovers. What if I told you that ancient Iraq might have discovered electricity long before Ben Franklin's famous kite experiment? Today, I'm diving into the mystery of the Baghdad Battery. Buckle up, because this is one electrifying story. All right, let's set the stage. Picture this. It's 1936 and we're near Baghdad, Iraq, at a site called Kujut Rabu. During a routine railway construction, workers stumble upon some fascinating artifacts buried in the ground. Among these artifacts are terracotta jars, copper cylinders, and iron rods. Enter Wilhelm Koenig, the director of the National Museum of Iraq. He proposes that these jars might be ancient batteries. Yes, you heard that right, batteries, potentially dating back to 150 BCE to 250 CE. Now let's take a closer look at these artifacts. Each battery consists of a terracotta jar about 14 centimeters tall. Inside there's a copper cylinder made from a rolled copper sheet and an iron rod placed right in the center. Fill this setup with an acidic or electrolytic solution and boom, you've got a basic galvanic cell that could produce electricity. Crazy, right? So when exactly were these batteries made? Most experts date them to the Parthian period between 150 BCE and 223 CE, or the Sasanian period up to 650 CE. The ceramic style points towards a Sasanian origin, but the exact dating is tricky due to the loss of many literary sources during the 7th century Arab invasion. But here's the million-dollar question: what were they used for? Some theories suggest they might have been used for electroplating, coating metal objects with a thin layer of gold. Others think they might have been used in medicinal shock therapy or even for ritual magic. However, the lack of electroplated artifacts from the same period casts doubt on the electroplating theory. Curious minds couldn't resist testing these ancient batteries. Replications have shown that they can indeed produce low-voltage electricity. For instance, the Mythbusters generated about 4 volts using lemon juice in 2005. Other experiments with vinegar or grape juice have produced up to 2 volts. So, while the voltage is low, it's definitely there. But let's not get carried away just yet. Mainstream archaeology remains skeptical about the battery theory. Critics argue that the absence of wires, electrolytes in situ, and conductors makes it more likely that these jars were used for mundane purposes, like storing scrolls. So, what do you think? Were the Parthians ancient electrical engineers, or are we projecting modern ideas onto these fascinating artifacts? The Baghdad Battery remains one of history's most intriguing puzzles. Well, that's it for today, folks. If you enjoyed this dive into ancient mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.